Welcome to Swamp Shangrila, here in the heart of the South Carolina Low Country. This is our first episode here on YouTube, and we like to invite all you fine viewers to take an adventure with us. We have been here at the property. We are currently on approximately 5.5 acres in the heart of the South Carolina Low Country. And we've been here almost a decade now. And we are looking to do quite a bit of building, all kinds of projects, outbuildings, decks, dog houses, pick one. We got a plethora on our list that we like to get done. And we'd like to invite you fine viewers to take an adventure with us and watch it. I do not claim to be a fine craftsman by a long shot. I do not claim to be a lumberjack by a long shot. However, I do work in heavy construction, and I have worked in heavy construction my entire life. So I'd like to invite you guys to take a journey with us. Stand beside a Timbery model M100 14 horsepower sawmill. We are not spokespersons for Timbery, and Timbery is not a sponsor for this channel. This is actually a product that we researched, and we decided, due to the size of timber we have on the property, would fit the need based on design, solid log bunk, 26-inch log diameter capacity, and decent horsepower for delivery cutting. We decided that this model will suit our needs to get us to where we need to be. We're going to do a simple little project today. What we're going to do is just do a simple elevated stand for a TV set on top of our coffee table. We've had the sawmill now for approximately 2 months, and due to rain, my work schedule, and everything thereof, this is really the first thing we've been able to really take through the paces. First chance to do it. Now, we did do some introductory cuts with it, and if you come over here with us, you'll see that in our, once we got the saw completely assembled and everything, and we did, you got to put through the paces. Come on, folks, you know, you got to play if you need to. But you can see that we did make some rather nice veneer out of a cant that I had cut up with a chainsaw on the chainsaw mill, beam cutter. And you can see if you come in closer that this is probably about 1/8 of an inch to 3/16 max. And this would be very good veneer paneling that you could probably put in your home and stain it up real nice and kind of give your living room or your den kind of a nice aesthetic. We're going to be doing, again, some simple log cutting today and everything. If you look around right here at the property, you see we have quite a bit of natural resources to pull from. However, due to how wet it is, we're just going to concentrate on the down timber we have right now and try to clear it out of the way and try to get something done. So we got a couple saws we're using here. We got a steel model 291, and we got a Husqvarna model 450 Rancher. So Husqvarna, we just put a brand new 28-inch bar on it, Oregon model chain. Got this 291 steel. This is my powerhouse right here. And put a brand new aggressive chain on it this morning. Both oiled up, gassed up, fired up, working. Before you start anything, and this is coming from my experience in heavy industry, plan your work to the best of your ability and work your plan. Now you need to have some kind of protection equipment. We got leather gloves right here. You want to have leather gloves that are known. They do have Sawyer's gloves, various protective gloves of that nature. It's a very fine investment to make too. You also want to have saw chaps. Right here, you see I got a backup pair of suspenders I got on there just to make holding these up on your hips a lot more manageable. You got a little weight to them, they can be cumbersome. Now these saw chaps, and just to put it out there, Husqvarna, steel, Landau, they're not sponsors of this channel. These are very fine products that we choose to use, basically because they've been proven, tested, and they're reliable. Also, our tractor is a Massey Ferguson. Massey Ferguson is not a sponsor either. This is a tractor we own, we've owned for several years, and does the job quite well. We have rigging equipment, so we can get a point of contact and safely negotiate the lifting that we will be doing. But going back to the soil chaps, you can see the soil chaps right here provide good coverage, and they provide protection to the carotid arteries that are on one's legs. Why is that important, you might ask? Well, I don't claim to be a medical professional. However, the legs are the largest muscles on the body. With that being said, the largest arteries on the body are in your legs. You look, if you remember back in elementary school, when you were learning about anatomy, then you remember the superhighway of the arterial system that pumps blood throughout your body. Right on the interiors of your thighs, going all the way down. That's how the body is designed, to protect it. Muscle on the outside, arterial highway on the inside. All it takes is one nick at 9,000 RPM or less. You're going to have a very bad day, folks. So we'll set back up when we get down to where we're going to be rigging and making a cut. Stick around, we got good stuff coming. Welcome back. Here's a log we're going to be working on, or should I say a down tree that we cut down. We got approximately 23-inch base. And pretty much this is what we're going to be using to try to get a good area going and get some good projects going. So pretty much what we got going on. I'm going to cut roughly 11 feet thereabouts on this, and try to get some decent work surface going. You can see I got some aftermarket forks here, clamp-on forks. If you look at it right here, screw-on forks that are we got on Amazon. Put on a tractor bucket. Pretty good investment. Amazon's not a sponsor either. These things, since we've had them, they've been extremely valuable. They've allowed us to move things around. The only thing you will encounter with a setup like this is you will have a fairly decent blind spot because of the bucket. Now, if you are starting the rural life, quasi-homestead life, I don't claim to be a homesteader. My wife and I are not homesteaders. We got property. At one point in time, we had chickens and we had goats and everything. We loved our fresh eggs, and eventually we'll get back there. We will get a better setup, and we'll probably get chickens and ducks. But after chasing a water moccasin out of the chicken coop, I decided that's enough chicken farming for me, because I don't want my wife being bitten in the neck by a water moccasin. And if you don't know what a water moccasin is, because in your neck of the woods they don't exist, feel free to look them up. Quite an interesting little critter. Anyhow, we're going to trim this up a little bit more, then we're going to cut her back, and then what we're going to do is see about putting her on the mill, shaving her up nice. If I could give a point of reference to anyone, you notice that I don't have this thing jacked way up in the air. 2 rules to rigging or moving something with hydraulics: low and slow. You keep it as low as you can. I could probably have it lower than this, but keep it low and you keep it slow. That's the idea. That's what you want to try to achieve. That way you keep positive control and you keep inertia on your side, and you cut down on your bounce. So what I could probably do is, once I trim this up, I'll let down on the hydraulics. And we'll go from there. Now, several people, when they start a chainsaw, they use different methods. Make sure your brake's on. Some guys will put between their legs, put a clamp on it. And that's a very safe way to do it. Put the choke on. Some guys will start on the ground. Depending on the bar, I use what's commonly called a drop method. And whenever I use a chainsaw, I have a personal peeve. Some people say, well, you got a 30-inch diameter tree. You could use a 15, 16-inch long bar and cut it from two different sides. That's their right. That is their opinion. But I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to being safe and doing things. And one of the things I like to do is try, to the best of my ability, to work a tree from one side at a time. So if I got a 23-inch diameter tree, when I took this thing down, I only had a 20-inch long bar. But now I got a 28-inch long bar because I don't like jumping sides. Whenever you drop timber, and again, I'm not a professional timberman, lumberjack, but I have seen what down timber can do to people and machinery. And I assure you, your human body is not as strong as case hardened steel. But you need to have a flight path for a couple of them, but a primary one at least. Basically, ditch your saw, run like hell. You need to have that at all times. Before you get yourself into a situation, have a good idea and walk it down. Walk this escape path. How are you going to get away from it? Because sometimes trees do what they want to do and not what you want them to do. Keep that in mind. But I generally use a drop method for starting a saw, unless it is a very large saw. So what we're going to do is we're going to shave up this underbelly on this thing. You see I got some down limbs right here. We'll get those cleared out of the way. Kind of called tanglefoot. You don't want that. So what we'll do is we'll get the saw fired up, trim some of this, cut this thing down. Now what I'm going to do next, we got that cut started. We'll let off these hydraulics a little bit. Put this down in a little more manageable area. Now why did I do that? To cut down on the spring ratio that you're about to see. So let's get this thing started again. little no muss, no fuss. You see the spring that happened on that log. Again, I don't claim to be a lumberjack. If you're sitting there saying, oh, he could have done better, you're right, I probably could have. Now, you notice how I lowered those hydraulics probably down a few inches, if not closer to a foot. If I didn't do that, can you imagine the spring that would have happened then? So we're going to take this back and put it on the log bunk there at the sawmill. We're going to have some fun. See you in a minute.